Let's be honest, parenting can be messy and hard, but also so rewarding. In this podcast, we'll share all the ups and downs of parenthood, as well as share some of our favorite tips and tricks for parenting using both our experiences and expertise from our professional lives as a speech and language pathologist and teacher, but also our everyday lives as moms, just trying to balance it all. We're so glad you could join us.
Hello and welcome to And Then We Had Kids. Sheena, I'm just so excited. I feel like we've been on a roll of who we have been able to meet through this community of podcasting. And today we have another guest, which I know you are so excited about as well as myself. So I'm Jenny.
And I'm Sheena. And I am thrilled to invite, I was just saying, she's like our first legit guest because our previous guests, while they're very much legitimate and had some wonderful experiences to share, I've personally known our previous guests. So this is the first person where we actually don't have an established relationship yet.
Yeah, right.
I'm excited to introduce Luci, who is the founder and owner of Skip and Scoot. And for those of you that don't know Skip and Scoot, they provide interactive early childhood movement classes here in the Chicagoland area. So Luci, welcome to And Then We Had Kids. We're so excited for you to join us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Sheena.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm just so eager. I think that the idea of what Skip and Scoot is beyond genius. And so Luci, if you just want to kick it off and explain what Skip and Scoot is, and then we'll kind of dive into how you got started, your background and things like that. So what is Skip and Scoot?
Yeah. So Skip and Scoot is kind of like my love child. It just kind of blends everything that I truly feel and believe in professionally and personally into my work. And so it helps me be happy and feel lucky to go to work every day. So that's such a blessing. And yeah, so what we do at Skip and Scoot is we do movement classes, specifically early childhood development classes. We also offer parties and events, but everything's focused around gross motor skills, sensory integration, social emotional learning, physical fitness. And then a big focus of ours is how the brain and body are connected and how it's really key to get bodies moving and physical in the early years to really form those neural connections that are going to serve kids for the rest of their life. So the brain is fascinating to me. And, and I just love how, whatever movement we do, if it's purposeful, that it creates these cool neural pathways. And so.
When I feel like you just hit on more than a trifecta of words that I feel like parents often hear of, sensory integration, social emotional learning, gross motor skills, and all those things. It's just an amazing thing that you found kind of a venue and an avenue to connect all of those together.
Thank you so much. I feel truly, truly, I didn't do it until a little bit later after I had gone back to graduate school. My undergrad, I was a women's studies major with a lot of focus also on French learning and stuff and the French language. So this is very different, obviously. And I had to put myself into the workforce for a little while to really figure out exactly what my purpose was. And then I went back to grad school for physical education. I got a master's in physical education and then taught in public schools and coached in public schools for a while. And then, I always knew that I wanted to sort of work for myself and have a business. And then, so it's really a pleasure to be able to work with the families that I do. It's just awesome. So I feel very lucky to do it.
So I'm going to backtrack. So Jenny and I love everything French and Paris. How did you go from French studies to physical education?
Well, people are not just one thing, right? So I think it's just a testament to that you can love a whole bunch of different things. I grew up loving the French culture and French language.
Yeah.
My dad is history and ancestors are from Prince Edward Island in Canada. And so yeah, it's just like I've just always loved Paris and France and the
Yes.
romance languages.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it doesn't really relate, but
It all does,
that's okay.
right?
Yeah. And yeah, so I think it's just one of the, we all have all just different types of things we love. So it's
Mhm.
that for me.
Yeah. So then you, like you say, you went and taught. Then how did you find yourself then going like, okay, I'm sure you like love what you did, as we both love being in education. And obviously there's like what you were saying, like there's always like something that more, like what's that next step? What else can I do? So then how did you come about, or what inspired you to start Skip and Scoop?
So the reason I went back to graduate school is because I wanted to work with kids, but also because I really believe in like the therapeutic qualities of movement and exercise and physicality. So that's when I first moved back, I thought when I first went back to school, I thought maybe I would want to open my own business right away and really work with kids with needs that are like therapy needs. And that's because the reason I went back is that I was working at, I lived a bunch of different places after college. And one of the places I lived is San Diego. And in San Diego, I worked at a nonprofit called the San Diego Center for Children. And I worked in like the main offices, like the administrative offices, doing fundraising work and like running events and stuff like that. But often I would walk through the campus and there was a recreational therapist that worked with the kids that were, it was a residential facility. And so she was just fascinating to me, and she would be physical and play with the kids and play basketball and stuff, but while she was offering therapy to them and like support and stuff like that. And so it's just I feel like when you have that distraction of like having fun, it's almost an opening it's like when you're getting your haircut, it's like you've got that distraction of getting your haircut, but like you tell your haircut person like everything about your life, right? Or they tell you.
Yeah.
So it's like, so it's kind of like that, where it just feels like an opening to getting to know someone and to offering them support, and also the added benefits of like endorphin flow and all that stuff that's going on as well. So
Yeah. I feel like that resonates so much with what Jenny and I have done over the years with education. And, I think a lot of the advice I give to teachers is like, get them up and moving, right? Like, especially for behavior regulation, and it's great for executive functioning skills. Like I hate when recess or PE is taken away from kids, because I'm like, when they're dysregulated, the thing that's really going to help them is getting oxygen to the brain, which is movement. Like, get them up and moving. So can you just share a little bit more about, you've touched a little bit on like the benefits of physical movement, but why is it so important for us to start, especially at such an early age?
Yeah, definitely. So you may have, I'm sure working in schools, you've heard the term like brain break for movement breaks, right? And so that's something I just wanted to talk about because as you just mentioned, like there's so many benefits to the brain. So it's really not a break for the brain. It's kind of a boost. It's kind of like a energizing, like whenever you stand up, whenever you move, whenever your attention is grabbed by something that's physical or pulls you into the moment, you're then able to focus on everything better. So anyway, so that is the benefit in school of moving, like as you had mentioned. But so when we start to move at a young age, it is beneficial in a number of ways. And it's really a way for early childhood development to be integrated between the brain and the body. So like when you're moving purposefully and non-purposefully, like, so like just open play at a playground and stuff like that, both sides of the body are working together. So you'll have neural connections going between the brain, between both sides of the brain. And it also, for me, like when I was growing up, I struggled with anxiety to some extent when I was in elementary school. And so sports were an amazing outlet for me, a way to be fully present in the moment and relieve stress, a way to feel a part of something social, like a team. And then there's, of course, as I mentioned before, the increased endorphins, and that, which are, for those of us who don't know, they are the hormones in the body that are naturally there, but they get increased through movement. They help us feel happy, energized, optimistic, and then exercise just increases the endorphins in the body. And what else can I say about this?
When I feel like don't mean to cut you off, but I feel like there's sometimes that I think of, like, you'll never regret working out. You always regret not working out. And even though, like, our kids don't need to be quote unquote like working out, I think, like, even today it was such like a nice day outside. Like, we went to the park and I could see my 1.5-year-old, he's able to be out from the stroller and hanging out at the park, and him just even like trying different movements, like problem solving of like how to get down from a step or going down a slide and trying things different ways. I feel like Skip and Scoot, based on, like the digging I've done on you guys, is that like you offer up such a variety of different movements and styles that kids, again, like you're quote unquote exercising and moving around with while having like lots of fun.
Yeah, totally. And that's another thing, is that, like, what's does a kid want more than playing with an adult or having an adult's attention? So I think the best way to really get kids active is to do exactly what you're talking about and take them out and play with them. And it's good for us too, right? It's like, our childhood. I get to kind of revisit my childhood every day in class when I'm teaching, which is probably part of the reason teachers love what we do, because we get to remember, like, oh yeah, this is what it's like to be a kid. It's really fun sometimes, and we get to use our imagination and, that kind of thing. So I'm really happy that I'm able to do it every day, for sure.
So what do the classes look like?
Yeah. So, as I said, like, we mostly work with, I would say, between the ages of 1 and 4, or 1 and 4.5. So like preschool age. I do now run a baby class, and then I also have run some school age like pop-up classes and stuff, and then like done birthday parties for teenagers. But generally that 1 to 4.5, 5 age range is what we call our little fitness adventures class. And it definitely has a structure, but there are some opportunities for, like explorative play and, testing different skills out. So we come in and we all, say good morning to each other, and then we get in our circle and we do, I love to play good music for the parents and the kids, both benefit from that.
Oh my God, perfect. Incredible.
I am very happy to report and maybe there's a lot of people who love this song out there, but it's not me. I do not love the Baby Shark song. So I've never played that.
I mean, there's plenty of opportunities to listen to it outside of your class. It's quite all right that it's not on your do not play list.
I listen to it enough at home. I don't need to listen to it outside of my home.
Fair enough. Yeah. So we come in, we do that. We do like a follow me warm up. So some examples would be doing some fast and slow movements. So marching, and then doing spicy feet or fast feet, like I like to call it.
I like that.
I got that from the spicy feet. I got from the person I work out with, whose name is Amanda Shoppy, and she has a company called Fit Shop Wellness, and she does the most amazing virtual classes. So I recommend looking her up for all of our adult needs. And she also does, since this is a parenting podcast, she does classes for new moms and moms who are pregnant and stuff like that. So
awesome.
She's a doula, and she's very skilled in like all things having to do with the female body. So definitely recommend her. But yeah, so we do some spicy feet, and that's just like basically going up on our balls of our feet or our toes and like just pretending the ground is lava for a minute, and going back and forth on our feet, and then turning around. So we get some vestibular stimulation, and then some cardio, and just like moving our body so that it feels good and it's lots of fun.
Do parents have to sign up for like a number of classes or like a set package, or can you do individual? How does that work?
Okay, wait, sorry, I meant to, that was just the warm up.
Oh my gosh. I was about to say that could have been like a whole class. Go back.
It's like my entire workout.
Yeah. I'm like, that's good. You did great things. Cut it off there, Lucy. You don't need to you're doing too much. You're working too hard. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I know. So that's the other thing, is that there were some classes that another reason I wanted to do this is that there were some classes I brought my kids to, and it was like, here's like 1 or 2 activities for the entire 45 minutes. And like, once the kids got bored, it would just be me like trying to re-engage them the whole time.
Yeah. You're like, someone please pay me for this. I'm doing quite a bit than just with my own child.
Yeah. So we change our activities a lot to keep the attention of both the adults and the kids. And so
Totally.
that's the warm up. Then we do some warm up movement songs. So like the song will tell us what movements to do. And I love Lori Berkner, bands like that for
Yes.
and then we always do an obstacle course. And generally I try to put components in like balance, going like body awareness, obstacles, so like going through a tunnel or crawling under something. Then we do some sequencing things like going under over type things. And then we even I have like a mat with numbers that we're doing like physical counting while we're hopping on the numbers and stuff like that. And yeah, so I have like a whole storage room of obstacles that I put together differently each time. And then we always usually do the parachute. It's a big plus. Everyone loves it's a fan favorite.
That's like a classic.
It is, yes. And there's so many things, like different things you can do with it. And it's the thing I love about it that I probably never even recognized until I was a teacher, is that it's one of the very first teamwork activities that you can ask a child to do, because literally if they move their hands like differently or too fast or too slow for the person next to them, it doesn't work. So like starting to understand like, oh, my body and my movements are affecting the whole entire parachute and how it moves. And I have to work with this team to make the activity work. So that's one thing I love about it. And then we sometimes do bubbles for some hand-eye coordination and more cardio. And then we do our stretches and our stamps. And sometimes I'll throw in other activities like lead up sports activities or things like that. Nice. And then what was the other question you asked me?
I mean, like, I'm tired. No, I was kidding. That sounds incredible. First of all, but you're right. Like having that young age group, you have to be on your toes. You have to be able to like be like switching it up like a lot during what I imagine is, how long are your classes?
Generally they're 45, but okay. I have some that are 60. So, but yeah, 45,
which is a like beautiful time. Like that's a great amount of time. My question I asked after the warm up, do like parents can sign up for just one class, or do you buy like a set of packages? How does that work if people are like curious about signing up?
Yeah. So what I tell people is, so generally they're session based. So it's either a 6, 8, or 10-week session. And I kind of tailor it just based on like, spring break schedule, or like, whatever works with the school scheduling and my scheduling and stuff like that. So that, and then we also do, so the public classes tend to be session based. So we also do offer private classes. And then the people that set up private class pods I really work with them to do sort of like whatever works for their group. So we could do we could do a one-off, we could do one class, or we could, for like some, special school day or something, or we can a lot of people do a whole session. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes I'll have pop-ups. So those are more one-offs, but people have asked me, do I do trial classes? And I don't do trial classes for a few reasons. One being that really I've been open mostly during the pandemic. So I kind of want to keep the germs.
Totally.
And then also because the skills that we do each week, they build off of each other, and then the kids get to know each other. And then they get to know the class format, and you can really, really see the improvement each week on the skills, on the just understanding like, oh, okay. A lot of the kids that come to me, it's their very first class ever in their life. And so, there's a lot of like the first 2 classes, there's a lot of like corralling or like observing. And then like they just slowly get it. And it's so cool
Yeah.
to see the light bulbs going off, you know?
I feel like
Yeah.
that makes so much sense. Even just thinking about like I signed my daughter from gymnastics, and the first like 3 weeks she was just kind of like letting every kid go in front of her. Like it seemed so nice of her. And they're like, she's so nice to other kids. And I'm like, yeah, she didn't do half the stuff you asked her to because she just kind of quietly got to be an observer. So being able to have that class for like 6 or 8 sessions, yeah, I definitely feel like parents would then be able to say, okay, maybe that first class they weren't doing much, but then my kid really got something out of this, and then to build
Yeah.
those social connections too.
Yeah. You can see the
and what I-
progression.
Yeah. And then what I always tell people too is that like, if for whatever reason you sign up for the session and it's not working out for you, I will always work with families. I'm not going to like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say like, well, sorry, but I want families to be happy with it. But generally, once people have done a class or two, they're like, this is going to work. This is good.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think
Yeah.
the idea of like baby classes too. I feel like I was with someone around where I was living was like, do you have any ideas of like music classes? I was like, ugh, I don't know. And the fact like with COVID and all that stuff that you offer, that is like, I think just being able to like, oh, I do know somebody to say, hey, have you looked into Skip and Scoot? It's just
yeah,
really nice to have like in their back pocket.
awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate all the publicity because I just feel like I feel like generally once families come through our classes, they're pretty happy with it. And so if they're even like half as happy as I am doing the job, I feel like it's a win-win for everyone. So
And your classes are both like indoor sessions and outdoor sessions, right? Mix?
yeah.
Okay.
Originally outdoor was not really a thing that was on my radar, but then of course with everything, it was about a year into owning Skip and Scoot that that March hit and everything closed down. So originally I went to virtual, but with the age group and with the type of activities I do, virtual was, we did the best we could. And
Right.
like, families were not unhappy, but it just was not the same. It was not the same experience. And so
No.
I opted for it. I think it works. I think it would have worked better if it was over 5 years, because when kids are over 5 years, then you can they can mirror easier or like keep their attention a little easier. But it was, it has
Those little guys just don't know how to like access Zoom. I remember like our daycare shut down and they were doing virtual classes and like my son had no clue what to do.
No.
Yeah, it was very confusing. I think they're like, am I watching a show? Am I like,
Right.
Like, can I get up and leave? My toys
Like,
are all over here.
when is
like,
all going to
check you
come
guys
across
later.
the screen? Yeah, it's confusing.
And
So.
I had some really dedicated parents and caregivers that were really like stuck with it and like would really engage their kids, and we had a lot of fun. But when that sort of, I went virtual to finish out the sessions that I was in. And once those ended, I said, like, I'll take a little bit of a break. And then when we can come back, we'll go outside. And so that's what we did. We went outside, and everyone really loved the outdoor programming. And it's a little bit challenging with the Chicago weather, but
yeah,
in the warmer months, like it really works great. And I definitely have at this point, now that it's a little safer to go back inside, because all of our public classes that are indoors we're still masking. I have a bunch of partnerships with places throughout Chicago. So unfortunately, some of them closed down. So I had to get some new ones when we came out of this, but starting to stack that list back up. And so I have some indoor stuff, like in case it's raining one day, I can offer, okay, we're going to move indoors just for today when we're doing an outdoor class. So yeah, nice. I love to teach outdoors because the fresh air is awesome.
Right. Well, and with the weather starting to get nicer, what tips or ideas can you share with parents of how to incorporate movement and play into what they're doing with their kids?
Yeah, definitely. So as I said before, I would just, the more that we can engage, I always tell all the caregivers, the more that we engage with the kids and get off of our screens, the more that they are going to do the same. Because, I've had to kind of tell some people like, love that you want to take all the videos of the kids, while we're in class. And like, I encourage you to take some, but the more that we put it down and engage with them, the more they'll get out of it and the more growth we'll see. And then also just like model for them, like I think it's really important for us to take some time for ourselves and to exercise and clear our heads in that way and show them that this isn't something, it's not only kids that get to be active and physical and play, like we deserve to do that as adults as well. And it's a lifelong thing. But specifically, I could share a game that my kids and I love to play out at the playground, especially when it's getting nicer, that requires no equipment, and pretty much, unless they're in a bad mood, they always will say yes to playing it.
Yes, we'll take your suggestion of a
I
game.
will take all of the help.
Okay, cool. So it's a really simple game, and I do play it in class with our kids, with the kids sometimes too, but it's called Touch a Spot. And all you do is either you or your kids, if they're old enough, you pick 3 spots in your play area, whether it's a playground, whether you can do it in a house. And you say, we're going to this one first. It's a sequencing thing. This one second, this one third. And then if they're older, you can time them, and they don't race against each other. They race against themselves. So they do it multiple times through and see if they can better their score. So it's kind of like it's like a self competition, I guess.
Yeah.
It's really good if you have like a younger sibling and an older sibling. But then my son will like to do it with me too, so I can get a little cardio in as well. And then you can reverse the direction if you want to, and just keep picking 3 different spots. It sounds like so simple, but it's actually really fun. And it's really
That's the thing. It's like the simple things that we can do and implement that we just, I don't know if it's mom brain or what, but like just can't come up with the ideas ourselves.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have a lot to think about and a lot of responsibility. So I'm sure we're all doing the best that we can. But
totally.
Yeah, I think like even just tossing a ball back and forth, and like as I said, like having that moment, like sometimes that opens the conversation up that you were hoping to have, but you didn't have because you were just sitting down and across the table from each other or doing work or whatever it was. And when you have that physical opening of like, okay, we're just tossing a ball, let's chat together. Sometimes it can be a little bit of an easier rapport.
Totally. Yeah. You don't have to be this like creative director in order to find that connection with your child. Just grabbing a ball or seeing like, okay, let's touch a spot. Like, so that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
So you share a little about like, you love some French culture. Heard you're active yourself. What do you do for you, and how do you balance like business life and mom life?
Yeah. So that's sort of like an ongoing thing that I work on, just like all working moms. I think. I would be very, very skeptical if someone said they had it all figured out in that category.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like any other working mom, I would say it's a lot of Tetris. Like, where can I fit in, 30 minutes for myself? Where can I fit in a jog or a workout, or going to get my nails done, or watching a show that I really like. And then just all of the responsibilities that we all have on our plate, whether you're a working mom or a non-working mom, taking care of little ones and having that as a responsibility is huge. And so it's always just about like looking at your day, I think, and trying to find the balance in between all of the different things. And so I don't have a magic potion or magic remedy to say like, oh, this is, but that's how I do it. I just kind of like do my best and forget the rest.
Well, I mean, beautiful right there.
Love it.
Yeah.
But there are definitely days or weeks where I'm like, oh, I overscheduled myself this week. I need to remember that. Like, it's okay to say no sometimes, like to social stuff or to work stuff that it's just like not going to be beneficial for anyone if I say yes to this thing. So it's a constant evaluation, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Where can people find you or find more information about Skip and Scoot?
Yeah, so I would say the thing that I always say is to find us on skipandscoot.com, sign up for a class, come see what we're all about. We also have a fairly strong presence on Instagram at Skip and Scoot. It's SKIPANDSCOOT. A lot of people want to spell it SKOOT. I don't know why. People do. I'm not like, I sometimes repost to Facebook, but I'm not really a big Facebooker anymore. But yeah, the website, www.skipandscoot.com or Instagram, or just, email me or call me and we can chat about whether it would be a good fit for your family.
Perfect.
Well, and the fact that, I mean, our listeners don't know, but now they will, is that you're on vacation with your family. So if that doesn't speak to the fact of you balancing a lot, I don't know what does, but we are so grateful that you took this time away from your family. Maybe it was a positive that you got a sweet break from your family while on vacation, but we are ever so grateful to have you. And we hope that people really check you out because you have a great thing going.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. And yeah, I hope I was not mumbling over my words because number one, this was my first podcast ever that I've ever done.
Fantastic.
And number two, I've been at the pool all day with my kids, so I'm pretty tired. I'm not gonna lie, it's past my bedtime.
Then you should say this is definitely like an all-night commitment and just go to sleep by yourself and have the kids all be in the other room. You're like, sorry, family. Yeah, this is really intense. This is my first one. I had no idea what I was committing to.
It went later than I expected.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, but it's been such a pleasure chatting with you both. And I just love hearing your podcasts. I've listened to a few of them earlier today on my vacation, and they were lovely and informative and interesting and like cathartic as a mom, I would say. I love that you're so honest, and I hope that we can stay in touch in some fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for having me so much.
Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all of the latest, you can follow us on Instagram @_andthenwehadkids. Thanks again, and like we say, life used to be carefree, and then we had kids.